Sharan Mohan, let's start.
Yes, sir.
Importing all preferences from home interface. Systems are now fully operational. Good evening to all. I hope you all are having another day in paradise. Welcome to all the exuberant educators to the 141st web training series of CBSE Bharat Sahodaya. Now I proudly present today's moderator, Ms. Hamani Bakshi. Ms. Hamani has a decade of experience as a teacher of English language and literature. She is a master in English literature from the prestigious Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University. She has been actively involved in promoting holistic education and experiential learning among students. She is currently working at Modern School, Barakamba Road as the high school English language and literature teacher. She is also the subject coordinator of the Midlands Secondary Wing. She has rendered her services as observer in National Achievement Survey 2021. So Hamani ma'am, wholeheartedly I invite you to moderate this grand session. Please ma'am, over to you.
I must say, sir, thank you so much for the honor. Means a lot. Thank you so much for the kind words. May I begin, sir, with your permission? Salam, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. A very good evening, everyone. Before we begin, I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Abdul Salam and CBSE Bharat Sahodaya for giving me this coveted opportunity. I also extend a very warm welcome to all the participants. It is indeed a pleasure to have each one of you as an indispensable part of the webinar, as we embark together on this enlightening journey of decoding CBSE English language and literature sample question papers in the 141st web training series. Continuing with its plethora of endeavors, the CBSE Bharat Sahodaya, along with today's remarkably talented resource person, Madam Ruchi Sengar, will seek to provide valuable inputs in this session. With examination season coming close, students need a lot of practice to boost their level of confidence to ace their board exams. And for that, CBSE has released the official sample paper for English examination, along with the marking scheme available on their official website. To ensure that we educators are ready to help students comprehend and practice the current year's sample paper with full effort and sanctity, today amidst us, we have Madam Ruchi Sengar, who would guide us in interpreting the CBSE sample question paper of English language and literature. Furthermore, it will definitely help educators to be clear of the desired objectives and outcomes. So before we begin with today's valuable session, there are a few things I'd like to brief you about. Kindly keep your device cameras switched on for the session. Any query in the midst of the session can be conveyed through the meeting chat box. In order to have an interactive experience, you may dispel your doubts by asking questions. Kindly click the raise hand feature and wait for your name to be called out to ask your query. The participants will have the opportunity to receive the certificate only after filling up the certificate and feedback form, the link for which will be shared at the end of the session. Kindly stay connected till the end of the session. At this juncture, on behalf of all of us present in the webinar, I would like to thank Dr. Salam for empowering us with such enlightening sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Abdul Salam, the General Secretary of CBSE Bharat Sahodaya Complex and the Principal of prestigious the Oxford School, Trivandrum. Dr. Salam is also the CBSE resource person, master trainer, and CBSE Deputy Training Coordinator of Trivandrum region. Sir is the founder of BTAC, Bharat Transformers Academic Pro, a consortium of educators and the teaching fraternity across the globe, connecting them together to empower the nation. Sir, it is indeed a pleasure to have your gracious presence, and I would request you to take over and deliver the welcome address.
Thank you and good evening, Ruchi ma'am and Himani and all the exuberant educators to this platform of 141st. In fact, Himani has given a very beautiful introduction about what we are going to listen to from Ruchi Sankar ma'am. This session was in plan about a month ago, but it couldn't happen because of the tight schedule of Ruchi ma'am. And I could have made it, but I believe that this session would be effective only with the contribution of Ruchi Sankar ma'am. That's why we waited. So thank you so much, ma'am. Dear participants, you might remember we have had many sessions from Ruchi Sankar ma'am, which were very effective and very informative. And at the end of the session, you will all agree that there is no doubt left in everybody's mind. So let's make use of this session. And if you have any queries, please clear it off before you leave. So I once again thank Ruchi ma'am for giving us a valuable time for the English language and literature teachers and educators. And I take this opportunity to invite each and everyone to the International Educators Conclave taking place in Trivandrum in December 27-28. I officially and personally welcome Ruchi Sankar ma'am. Invite her, madam. You are invited on behalf of Bharat Sakodaya to be our guest. If you can, please make it. And each and everyone, thank you so much. Have a good day. Let's lend our ears to man. Forward to Shiva. Thank you.
Thank you for your enlightening words, sir. Dear participants, we shall now proceed to the highlight of today's webinar. Today amidst us, we have very talented Madam Ruchi Sankar. Madam Ruchi Sankar is a published author, a renowned educational consultant, materials writer, and a communication skill professional with a certificate in English language teaching to adults, CELTA in short. He's a materials reviewer for the NCERT and also a resource development, a master trainer and materials developer for the CBSE. Her experience includes working at some of the leading schools of the country in various leadership capacities. She has been associated with CBSE as the content developer for the past several years and has co-authored teacher training modules for the board. An expert in innovative pedagogical processes, she has been training educators under various regional centers of excellence across the country. Madam Sankar began training with Oxford University Press and currently conducts training for many prominent publishing houses. Over and above, Madam Ruchi Sankar considers herself a lifelong learner and believes strongly in professional development opportunities for educators. She has been conferred with numerous awards for holistic education and teaching beyond school. Ma'am, on behalf of everyone present, I welcome you and request you to take over the proceedings for the evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salam, and thank you very much, darling Himani, for being so kind with your words. From all of what Himani said, what really strikes a chord with me is that Madam Ruchi Sankar is a constant learner. I would happily bear that flag till my dying day. Thank you very much for joining me here today. It's an important session. Dr. Salam has been very, very patient with me, and I truly am grateful because I wouldn't have wanted to miss interacting with all of you for the world. Without much ado, let's begin. I would begin with sharing my screen. Today's session is not going to be about a PPT, but it's going to be about the document since we are talking about the sample paper. So we are going to ensure that we go through the paper threadbare. So before we proceed to the paper, a quick refresh on the syllabus, because I have heard a lot of academics say that it's a tricky paper. It's a difficult paper. It's a deadly paper. What will our kids do? Oh, this is not what the board is going to come up with, etc., etc. Right? So I am just going to tell you that the paper is completely in sync with the syllabus that has been published, the curriculum document that has been published. Everybody is familiar with this document, right? So, and I'm going to begin with this. I would also like to reiterate what Himani mentioned. Should you have any query and would like to clarify it, and you feel that it cannot wait because it's contextual to what we are talking, please raise your hands, and I'm sure she is going to call you out and have you talk to me, right? So here we go. So it says reading skills. Now, everybody knows that we have two questions here. Everybody knows we have two questions. So discursive, case-based, look at this. Visual input, it could be a statistical data, it could be a chart, and let's not forget it says etc. First of all, it's a case-based passage. Please do not pick up articles and put them in your question paper saying that it is a case-based passage. Please do not pick up articles from somewhere and take corresponding graphs and put them there. That is not a case till you establish it in the passage. Be very careful what you do. Be very careful what resource books you are recommending or using yourselves. Okay? Yeah. Now, this is something you know, but I would have you focus on what is given here. Look at this. So we know that you have MCQs and you have objective type. That's proven in the paper. But look at the competencies. Inference, analysis, interpretation, evaluation, and vocabulary. Very simple. It very clearly says that this is what is going to be tested in the reading section. There is no understanding. There is no remembering. So therefore, how, I beg you, are we expecting to find those questions? We can't, because it doesn't say so in the syllabus. So the paper has been set and will be set, bearing in mind the competencies that have been mandated in the syllabus. Inference, analysis, interpretation, evaluation, vocabulary. Vocabulary also is going to be inferential. It is not going to be which is the opposite of, which passage has the meaning of. All that is over. You're not looking at rote. The only lower order skill over here is interpretation. A little above understanding. Every other skill is higher order. So how are you going to get questions that are lower order? You will not. There is no point crying from the rooftop saying that the paper is tricky or difficult. No, the paper is mapped to what is given in the document. Okay, let's go to the section B. We have these prescribed topics for grammar. So what does it say here? It says accurate use of spelling, punctuation, etc. in grammar in context. In context. So you have to establish a context. You cannot just pull out a Sita, Geeta, Hari, Ramesh, Ali, etc., Gurpreet, and so on, or Johnny, or Rita, or whatever you want to say, and give sentences. You cannot do that. It also very clearly says 10 out of 12. So now if there is a choice, and it is clearly 10 questions to be attempted out of 12, then 10 separate questions have to be, 12 separate questions have to be made to allow the child the choice. You cannot do an editing in a paragraph form. So what are you going to tell the child? Attempt any one blank. It can't happen. So what are the two things you have figured out from here? It has to have a context, and it has to be an individual question. And the individual questions can only be in the form of gap filling, editing, or transformation. And they can be MCQ or objective type. That is precisely what the paper is showing you. Okay, let's go further. All right, creative skills, creative writing skills. Section will have short as well as long writing tasks. Now, a lot of teachers were up in arms saying that if it is a short task and a long task, why are the marks same? And which one is the short task and which one is the long task if the word limit is the same? So I'm going to deal with that if you still want to know the answer. Otherwise, I think what you need to remember is that the marks are the same because the competencies required by the child are the same in the writing section. You are now looking at the complexity of competencies, not how many words are being used. A notice, for example, can be as complex as a letter or an article, provided the question is targeting the competencies. Two-liner questions are out. And why am I saying this? What are the competencies? I'll show you when I'm dealing with the sample paper. Okay, let's go to literature now. Reference to context or extract-based questions, multiple choice, objective type. We know this. Now look at the competencies: inference, analysis, interpretation, evaluation, vocabulary. Now, where is understanding? There is no understanding. There is no remembering. All but one are higher order. It's the same as reading. Only this is lower order. And you have a mix of multiple and objective. So how will you get the so-called simple question? And if it is extract-based, then the question has to come from the extract, not what happens before or after. Please let us get our act together. Our children will suffer otherwise. We need to be very clear what kind of practice, with what kind of materials we are giving them. You are the bosses. You are the experts. Nobody knows the subject better than all of you. So it is very, very important that we understand what is expected in the assessment, year-end assessment. Okay? Now, look at this. I beg your pardon. So now it says 4 out of 5. So now we are going for short questions, 40-50 words, 3 markers. So from first flight, which means this is going to have questions that are prose as well as poetry, of course, because the book carries both. Then you have 2 of 3 from here. Again, the same kind of marks. And this is from your supplementary reader or the literature book or extensive reader, whatever you want to call it. Then you have the long answer type. Okay. So over here, 1 out of 2. Now, competencies for these are not explicitly listed. So you can have all kinds. You have all your competencies listed here. Since it is not explicitly listed, you can even have a comprehension question. That's not a problem. Okay. So now look at what the long question is. Just give me a second. All right. Thank you. So now you look at the long question, 1 out of 2. Look at the magnitude of choices. That's excellent for the student, but it is backbreaking for the teacher. When you create a paper, it's backbreaking, and you have to create 1, 2, 3 pre-boards or more practice papers and such. Okay, so you have this. It says first flight. It says 100 to 120 words. Now look at the competencies: creativity, imagination, extrapolation beyond the text, which means that chapter, and across the text, which means other chapters in the same textbook. Other chapters in the same textbook. It's given here in black and white. So we can't object. It very clearly says so. So all your questions here may, okay, be targeting 2 or 3 chapters or poems, etc. It may not be just unique to one particular chapter or poem. Okay, it further says that this can be a passage-based question, so you might get a particular context. Passage could be given from a situation or plot from the text, just to help the child know based on this particular situation. So they might quote those few lines or a passage from there. They might quote 2 different passages from 2 different chapters. They might quote lines from a particular poem and lines from a particular chapter, and then put across the question. Why? Because it says this, oops, I beg your pardon. Because it says that this is going to assess creativity, imagination, and extrapolation. Where does it say? Creativity is the highest order, by the way. Everybody knows their blooms. It's the highest order, which means analysis, evaluation, inference, everything is subsumed in creativity. This is the highest order of critical thinking. So, why would the question simply be a simple understanding question? Why would the question simply be a question that is based on memory? Do you see any character sketch given in this area? What does it very seriously say? Based on a situation or plot. You could even push it and say theme. But there is no character sketch mentioned here. Where will the character sketch be mentioned? It will be mentioned in the book that has stories only. You have non-fiction pieces, quite a few non-fiction pieces in your main reader. But you only have literature / stories in your supplementary reader. So obviously, you will get character sketch in that question. And look at this. In this, you have theme, plot, interpretation, extrapolation. Here you have creativity. Here you have creativity. But here you have interpretation because it is literature, pure literature. It is fiction. So everything that you have done in your BA, MA, apply it here. The writing style, the tone, the mood, the setting, the plot, the conflict, because this is all fiction. Static character, dynamic character, gray character, black and white characters, satire, irony, whatever you want to use, you can, because this is pure literature. It is fiction. Your first flight is a language book. It's a skills book. That's why all your reading, writing, speaking, listening, grammar, vocab is developed through that. Okay, now that we've done this, and I have explained the sort of syllabus first to you, any question based on the syllabus? Any questions? You could raise your hand, you could, I don't know, type it in the chat box, perhaps. I'm going to wait for about 30 seconds. I'm going to leave it to Himani to read and let me know if there is something that needs to be addressed.
Dear participants, if you have any query, you may virtually raise your hand or you can post your query in the chat box.
Nature of long answer question, explain grammar part.
Grammar
Yes.
part, yeah. I think
I will do that. Sorry, Himani, please carry on.
I said, ma'am, grammar part is akin to what we are just discussing right now. And we are getting queries on business letters as well.
Yeah. Okay. Where does it say that we have business letters? I don't think it says we have business letters. Does it say we have business letters? It simply says a letter based on a given situation. A given situation. Okay, yes, very good. Formal letter, 100%. What about, will there be any assertive reasoning questions? I will answer that. Himani, may I please request you to note that point? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Anything else that we see here? Nature of the long answer question, yes. Grammar part, yes. Anything on the syllabus that you need to clarify? Because now I'm going to move into the sample paper. Reading section should be all MCQ. Are you telling me or are you asking me? Because your syllabus very clearly says reading section is MCQ / objective time. I would like to know something regarding analytical paragraph based on cues. Yes, Lucas, I've just answered your question. Malini, analytical paragraph, yes, I will address that when I'm doing the paper. Thank you for your interaction. Can we use, yes, you need to use the name of the question. So any question on the syllabus? No. So let's move on. Syam, I'm just going to answer that when I, Deepti rather, I'm going to answer that when I show you the paper. Let's move to the paper. Here we are. Okay, I'm closing the chat box, Himani. How to write an analytical paragraph? Dipesh, this, that's very sweet of you. But this session is about decoding the paper. How to write an analytical paragraph. I'll talk about that towards the absolute end, point you in the right direction. Okay. Sample question paper by the CBSE. Very simple, very clear, 15-minute prior reading time. Okay, I think everybody can. Let me use the pen. Maybe it will sort of help in. Let me use red. So we have 15-minute prior reading time. While I was drafting the paper, I thought that this is what teachers keep asking, so it's important to put it right there. Okay. It also says that each section is going to have its specific instructions. Now, if you're wondering why this is something you cannot see in your paper, is because I've added it here. Just so we don't forget what we have studied from the syllabus. So the reading section is going to talk about inference, analysis. Please look, IF is inference, A analysis, interpretation, evaluation, and vocabulary. There is no comprehension. There is a fair amount of comprehension in class 12, strangely, because that's a high stakes exam. But in class 10, there isn't. By the time this batch comes up to 12, there won't be any comprehension. Okay, we are not sticking into lower order at all. Okay, so now this is a discursive piece. Everybody knows this. I'm sure you've studied it. Let's have a look at the questions. Okay, I've marked the answers here just so. Why does the writer say that the mountains inspire awe in human beings? What kind of question is this? Is it inference, evaluation? What kind of question is it? Look at the question. Why does the writer say that mountains inspire awe? What are we expecting the child to do? So now when you see a question, you ask yourself, or when you create a question, you ask yourself, so has somebody answered? No. Okay, so look at this. So it simply says, could you explain what the writer means when he or she says mountains inspire awe? And the moment we say explain, it simply becomes interpretation. Okay, so this is lower order. This question is lower order. Okay, let's go to the next one. It says, select the option that corresponds to the following relation given below. The more incredible the mountains, the greater the thrill. So obviously it is D. Why? Because it is inversely proportional. Okay, or directly proportional. Sorry, directly proportional. This is more, this is greater. But over here, higher, lower, more, less, small, big. Only this is growing together. So what kind of a question? Very simple. We are looking at vocabulary here. If you want to say that, oh, you have to infer also, that's okay. You can call it inference also. Go to the next one. Select the option that displays what the writer projects with reference to the following. So what is the writer projecting? So mountain climbing is undoubtedly one of the most popular adventure sports. What do you get to know about? What is the writer feeling, or with what kind of tone or mood is the writer, putting this across? So obviously you'll have to infer it. Now it's very important that you know the difference between understanding, interpretation, analysis, inference, evaluation, etc. So I'm assuming you all know. This is not a session on helping you understand the distinction between competencies. This is a session for decoding the paper and doing precisely that for you. So now see, what does inference in simple language means? Can you figure out? The answer is not there. But can you look at the clues and figure out? That is inference. Okay. Then you have complete the following with a phrase from paragraph 1. So you have an opinion and a reason. So a reason is given and you have to say what is the opinion connected to that reason. It very clearly becomes analyze, because you have to analyze this to get to this. Then the next one, the writer compares training to penance in the line so and so. State one point of similarity between training and penance. So you have to evaluate. What is the factor of training? What are the factors of penance? And what is the common point? So you come to evaluation. Okay. And when you do this with your children, kindly do not tell them to have a look at the marking scheme. Do each question orally. No matter how many papers you get them to practice, till you discuss each question orally and keep asking why this, why not this, Why is this the answer? Why can't it be this? Can it be this? That is what is going to help them learn. Not sitting and practicing 10 papers or 30 papers. That's not going to take them anywhere. Because there is nothing that is going to be rote-based. So what is all that practice going to do? Nothing. It has to be collaborative thinking, talking, discussing that is going to help them crack the paper. Okay? Like Himani said in the beginning, ace the paper. Okay? Based on your reading of the text, list 2 reasons why and look, you don't just have MCQs, you have objective type questions also. Okay? Based on your reading of the text, list 2 reasons why the writer says that mountaineering is not a sport and can be embraced without preparation. So you cannot embrace mountaineering without preparation. So what is it that which question number is this? 6, yes. So analyze this line. Analyze why. So because, so therefore analysis. Look, all this is from the marking scheme. So many options given. See, because. So a reason is to be given, therefore it's analysis. Okay. Then what connect does the writer draw out between unpredictable weather and setting up of camps? Now the answer is not there. But if you look at the clues, the person says that we have to check the weather before setting up the camp. Otherwise, we cannot travel when it is about to snow. So we have to stop. So therefore, looking at the clues and making an answer, it's inference. This is just to tell you, everybody, that your questions are going to be based on what the syllabus says over here. The syllabus says this, so the questions have to be made like this only, no? There cannot be a question that makes the child pick up from the text and write the answer. How? The competency is not listed in the syllabus. How will you get a question like that? So even the people who are making the paper for the board exam, there's never a one person who's doing it. They will also in their blueprint or in their this thing have to clarify what competencies, no? They cannot randomly make questions. It has to match the competency, no? Right? So the writer says so and so. Now this is number 8, obviously. A true mountaineer may challenge the mountain yet. So select the reason. So, okay. Supply one point to justify. So obviously, if you're justifying, then you are evaluating, because you have to first evaluate to be able to give a reason. Okay. And any higher order, the lower order competencies are in that. So the child will have to analyze and then decide. Therefore, it is evaluate. Okay. Evaluate the so this is very, very clear. So we are done with the first part. Now, there was a question that said, do we get assertion reasoning questions? Yes, why not? What's stopping? Of course you can get. Assertion reasoning question will be an analysis question. You'll get. You can get, I mean, ideally, they would probably figure in the case-based passage, because that's an analytical passage. Now, look at the case-based passage. So it talks about tourism in the northeast of India. Okay. It talks about a study. It references the study. It gives some data. It's not necessary that there always has to be a graph. The purpose of a case-based passage is that the child is able to interpret, analyze, infer, evaluate, and then respond. So here it is. Lot of data. Even if there is no data, the information, like in the analytical paragraph, the information should prompt the child to use a particular competency if you can make the question like that. You are not going to find it in guidebooks, no matter how many you purchase. You will have to make it. Okay? So, infer one reason for the following. So, infer very clearly. So, they are saying, this is what the line is. What could probably be the reason? Which is the clue that is going to make you get that answer? Okay, so this is inference. Select the appropriate option to fill in the blanks. From paragraph 1, we can infer that the dash and dash of the northeastern states aid attracting the money-rich and time-poor tourists. So this is ideally, it could be inference or it could even be vocabulary, because these words are meanings of the words that have been used there in the passage. Okay. Then you have complete the following analogy correctly. So obviously, if it is an analogy, you are analyzing the relationship between this to get this. Okay. So aroma is something that you associate with cooking. They need to understand the relationship. This kind of question, the relationship, you could please Google analogies, vocabulary dash analogies, and you would come across 6-7 relationships. It could be a meaning, it could be an opposite, it could be a part of, it could be leading to a whole. You have several kinds of relationships. The child has to be able to know the relationship to come to the answer. So it says painting, and this is a phrase from the text, which is the answer. It says, and it even says paragraph 1. You are not, please list where you want the child to read. You don't want to check the child's ability to skim quickly. Those times are over. Skimming and scanning, you assume the child knows. But in an exam setup, kindly don't make the child run from pillar to post to hunt. Kindly state your objective is comprehension, not being able to hunt the passage or the quoted part. Be very careful what you want. It's a year-end assessment. It means a lot. Be very clear what you're targeting. Select the correct option number 4. Okay. Select the correct option to complete the following sentence. Travelers advocating the experience economy seek a holiday package with. So now the answer is there. The child simply has to interpret, figure out, interpret, pick from there and see what is the meaning of that particular line and choose. Lower order. Okay. It may seem higher order, but it isn't. Okay, because the answer is there in the text. Now, again, select the chart. What do you think this is? Which competency is this question? Yes, Anshika, thank you for your answers. Deva, your query about long answers, will be coming to that. Select the chart that appropriately represents the trend of foreign tourist travels in the Northeast from so and so and so. So, what kind of a question is this? Interpretation, inference, analysis, evaluation, what kind of question? Would somebody like to write that in the yeah, anyone? No? Well, it's very simple. It's just simple lower order. So can the child interpret the data to the graph? That's all. Can the child interpret the change in representation of the data? That is all. So it says there's a rising trend. It continued to increase. So which is the one graph that shows a continuous increase? Second one, this one. Everything else, there's a drop, there's a plateau and a rise. No, this is the trend. That's all it is. Okay. Fill in the blanks, number 6. Fill in the blank by selecting the correct option. The study of tourist travel statistics in the Northeast showed dash results. Now you'll have to pick up this, but you have to read the data and infer what kind of results were they. But because there's a constant increase, the results were encouraging. You'll have to explain like this to your children. There are no shortcuts, I'm afraid. Okay. Substitute the word witnessed with one word similar in meaning to. Okay, this is similar in meaning, so just list any 2 examples of tourist facilities. So you infer what the writer means by tourist facilities. You could even call it a vocab question. So there are so many. Okay. Then you have the next one. This is number 8, number 9. List one reason why the researchers recommend that the formulation of a tourism strategy in the Northeast. So one reason. Okay. Select the option that titles the paragraph 1 to 3 appropriately. Okay. So only if the child is able to evaluate each paragraph, evaluate and reach the central idea, will the child be able to get this. Okay. Now that is all there was. So there is no question of saying it is difficult, it is easy. No, we have to stop saying that. It's tricky, it's high level. It is exactly a competency-based set of questions. The competencies are listed in the syllabus. There's a lot that should the students answer generally for analytical paragraph because the answer is not present, like the ninth question here. List one reason why the researchers recommend. Yeah, but it has to be, look at the marking scheme. It very clearly says what is expected from the child, no? So now you're saying ninth question, 6, 7, 8, and 9. See, what does it say here? Pavitra, what does it say? Award 1 mark for the relevant and correct answer. There is no partial credit, no half marks. There are no half marks in the reading section unless until 2 specific points are asked for. It's an exam. You need to be fair. It is not a formative assessment for the multiple assessments or the portfolio that you will keep giving them 1/4 and half. What is that? It's either right or it's not. And if it is allowing a sense of doubt, then the question is trash. Okay. So, yes, it could be, I don't know what you mean by answer generally, but yes, they will have to answer in their own words, but it has to have some context and relevance and evidence from the text. They cannot just think about their prior knowledge and answer. It is based out of the information in the text only. So if they are inferring, it has to come from the clues that are given in the text. Okay. Does the child get a chance to choose 10 from 12? No. Where does it say 10 from 12? Does it say 10 from 12? Is there a choice given in the syllabus? Do you see choice anywhere? No. 10 means 10. There is only a certain percentage that can be given as choice. And the policy makers have chosen to keep that percentage limited to literature/writing. Would you rather that they have a choice in the reading and a definite question only without a choice in writing? It's only that much percentage of choice, up to that percentage of choice. It cannot go more than the numerical percentage. It has to match that percentage of choice. Does the child get a thank you? Or yeah, very welcome, Shelly. Can a child answer by writing option instead of answer? Yes. Yes. But it has to be very clear. Should students answer generally while interpret analysis? Thank you. Some of you have been gracious enough to answer. All right, here we go. We are back to this place. So now we come to grammar. There was a question about the grammar section. Now let's have a look. In context. So all your questions will have to have a context. What do I mean by it should have a context? Fill in the blank by choosing the correct option is not enough. What option? Where is it? From where are you taking this? What is the context? To complete an online update. This is the establishment of the context. Read the conversation between a doctor and patient. You've given the context. Okay. Select the correct option to fill in the blank for the given line from a health magazine. You've given the context. Okay. News report. You have given the context. Okay. Then you have a portion of a letter, grandson, grandfather, school magazine report, holiday about at the sea. So establish the context. Please be grammatically correct when you create questions for grammar. If you look, I am again telling you, be very careful when you give questions for practice from these guidebooks or resource books, whatever you want to call them. They don't have questions like these. They don't have them. You'll have to create them. You are the masters. I keep saying, you are the masters. Analytical paragraph, Lata, I'm yet to come to that, darling. I will answer that question for you. Yeah. Whenever you're in doubt, please look at the marking scheme. I will prove what I am telling you, Lata, right now. Okay. Now, so this is what it is. Any other question for grammar? See, you have a mix of MCQs and objective type. Okay. Remember that whatever has been prescribed in the syllabus, namely this, only this can be tested. When you do, which is the error in the editing, you have to ensure that the error is either tense related, modal related, subject verb, concord related, or determiner related, or something like that. You cannot use anything else to examine the child, because only this has been prescribed. Be very, very careful when you're creating these questions. Okay? So now this is tense. This is reported speech, modal, determiner. You would have tense again. What is this? This is to respectfully submit that I, okay, tense again. Reporting in reported speech. In order to balance the sentiments, so again, see, form of tense. You have to be very careful. Reported speech, modals, tense, and then massive discount for all, whatever. Okay. Now, any questions on grammar? Any doubts? Any questions on grammar? Don't forget that it is not just context, accurate use of spelling, punctuation. Okay. If it is wrong, then it is wrong. There are no half marks in grammar. Okay. There are no marks for steps. Oh, the child has at least tried. It clearly says spelling and punctuation. An apostrophe will make all the difference. You know? Yes. Okay. Let's go to the writing section. Now, what does it say in the writing section? That whatever the child is going to be using or thinking is going to be creative. It has to have an opinion, reasoning, justifying, illustrating, applying conventions, accuracy, fluency, appropriacy of style and tone, appropriate format, and such. Now, are you telling me that you will create a random question that says write a letter inquiring about just this and leave it at that? How is that question going to be creative expression? How is that question going to generate opinion, reasoning, justification, illustration, style and tone? How is all that going to happen? Therefore, the questions have been created to address these competencies that have been written in your syllabus document months ago. So you will have to create a question that is going to test those competencies. Okay, so now you are Sunidhi Prakash. So now letters, business letter, I am not commenting on. A letter on a particular situation, yes, namely editor, but they will have to be a situation mentioned in the question, which you already do. An issue, a situation, complaint is a situation, request is a situation, inquiry is a situation. I'm sure this is what you wanted to know, right? Order, I'm not sure whether it's a situation or not. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about order, right? Okay, so complaint could be 2-3 different types of complaints, about a product, about some services. Requesting could be something that you could talk about, whether it's from an organization or any other request that you have from an institution and such. So now let's look at this. You are Sunidhi Prakash. In the paper, what is this? You are Sunidhi / Sonu. What is that? If it is creative, so then you allow the child to imagine, no? Do you see you are Sunidhi oblique Sonu? What was that? We are talking gender parity. A child cannot imagine a particular person's role. You are Sunidhi Prakash, the vice captain of Brilliant Vidyalaya, Barra, Kanpur. You have recently noticed several posters. So contextualize. Please contextualize. Okay. Have recently noticed several posters around your school premises conveying a hazardous message. So you are saying it is hazardous. You don't want the children to have any other opinion. Hazardous means hazardous. You are saying it in the question. Lose weight in just a month, a wonder diet, etc. Privilege available for only a few. Write a letter to the editor of the DWA in not more than, you're not mentioning whether it's a local daily, whether it's a national daily, nothing. They can choose what they want. Unless until it is there somewhere else. In not more than 120 words. 120 words only. Can you imagine the grip on the language that is required for 120 words and addressing all of this? Formal letters are not long winding letters. Drawing attention. So what's the first thing? Draw attention towards the harm caused by, propose the implementation. Okay, this is the idea. Okay, mention the advantages, share suggestions. Look at what is required. That is how you frame a question. That is going to address these competencies. Okay, there's something in the chat box. Let me see. Argumentative type, analytical paragraph. Yes, Suma, I'll talk about it. Although this session is not about analytical paragraph writing. Can the inquiries be written? No. Avoid points as far as possible. Why? Because it is a writing section. The child is supposed to be using discourse markers. Child is supposed to be using not discourse markers. What are they called? Linkers. Child is supposed to be using transition words. Okay. Is voice and clause omitted? Yeah, I don't see voice and clauses anywhere in 9th, 10th. No, is there in 11th? Kanimozi, I hope I've answered. Ma'am, can you show the grammar part once again? We'll do that towards the end. Is there any limit for rules in subject verb concord? Yeah. You have a workbook, don't you? You have a workbook that has been prescribed. Marks for heading. Coming to that, Lata. Where will the video? Okay. What is the scope, Lucas? I'm not sure what that question is. Okay, so this is your. Now look at the next one. Okay, it says you are Zach Scaria. It's not Zach or Zeni. One name, no? Resident so-and-so apartments, Gandhi Marg. When you create your questions, be inclusive. Be inclusive. Children's names from all religions, all classes, across the country. Just because somebody from Delhi is setting the paper or somebody from Bengal is setting the paper, the name should not just be that. If you look at this paper, great care has been taken to have. If it is Lata, it can be Lata also, it can be Latha also. You have children from the Northeast attempting the papers. You have children from the South, the North, the East, the Center. There is no paucity of places and names. Please ensure that you get in the Northeast part, you get in the Southern part, use those names. It's important. Ensure that you are being, if you're talking about somebody who's cooking, you're talking about somebody who's dancing, use a boy's name. If you're talking about a pilot or something, use a girl's name. That is what we are wanting to teach our children, no? That nobody is limited. Okay, so this is where you do it. 3 students of grade 10 from your residential complex have rescued and rehabilitated. Are you looking at the topics? You're not doing letters on their potholes on the road, or the loudspeakers are loud, or but this has happened, that has happened. For God's sakes, could you please, I don't know, respect the NEP and use real world issues. Something that you want your children to be aware of. Okay. Few old beggars from the neighborhood, you think that their work deserves appreciation and recognition. So you've established the context. Yes, Usha, the book is expressions, yes. Grammar section, more explanation. Archa, I will do that towards the end. Thank you. Okay, write a letter to the president of the RWA. Seeking recommendation. Now see, there's a situation. You've given a situation, no? Why are we stuck with letter of order, letter of inquiry, any situation? So you're asking, you're seeking a, let me remove this. You are seeking a recommendation for these youth. So therefore, when you are seeking, what kind of a letter does that make it? Would anyone like to write in the chat box? If you're seeking a recommendation, what kind of a letter do you think it can make it? Letter of request. Because you're requesting. Yes, very good, Sujana. Very good. Yes, thank you. Yes, Dipesh. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So that's what it is. Now, suggest any other ways such acts of kindness could be recognized. So seek a recommendation. Okay, first you say that it deserves appreciation, then you seek a recommendation, then suggest other ways such acts of kindness could be recognized in the future. So you have your 120 words. But tell the child what you need. So if you look at the marking scheme, it addresses all of this. See, very clearly it is telling you. This time I was careful that we included this because there is so much of argument. No, this has to be done. No, that has to be done. No, this has to be written. That has to be written. Now it's all here. It also very clearly tells you this. All aspects, 1 mark. 2 aspects missing, half. No credit if more than 2 are missing. 0 for format then. It says in the marking scheme. I don't know what kind of marking scheme will come in the board exam. But if it is something like this, then please follow. We are not in a system in class 10 where we say, oh, something has been written, give marks. No. People like you are only going to be head examiners. Something has been written, give marks. What is that? Are you doing a formative exam or are you doing a fine? Be fair. Don't be strict. Don't be lenient. And how are you fair? Your marking scheme. In competency-based education, the marking scheme is criterion-based. It is not norm-based. This is a criteria. Look, these are the points. This is called a criterion-based marking scheme, where criteria are clearly listed. If this, then 2. If this, then 1.5. It reduces subjectivity. So it's all given. There are marks for organization. Ideally, for content, it is only 2 marks. Only 2 marks. for content, 1 mark for organization. Even that has been clearly explained. And it also very clearly says, if even 1 point is missing from here, supposing this is there, but this is not there, the child will not get 2, the child will get 1.5. The marks are awarded at a level lower. It's in the marking scheme. I'm not saying it. We are smart enough to read what is being given. We can't cry out murder when it happens in the final exams because it's been given here. Whether it is done in the board exams, not done in the board exam, that is not what this session is. Even if there is a little bit of leeway this year, it is not going to continue. It's going, might as well train yourselves and the children for this. Okay. So this time it has been fully solved. Just to help. Look at this. Capitalization. Okay. Don't cap the caps. Okay. Your articles, your prepositions should not be capped. Everything else is capped. Conjunctions. Everything else is capped. This is capped. This is capped, cap, cap, cap. This is not capped. Explain these things to your children. You're already doing it, I'm sure. That's it. You have this one as well. This is just to explain to you. And remember, paragraphing is a part of organization. If this were an IELTS exam or a higher high stakes exam, marks would be cut. It's our job to teach it to our children. Why? Because it very clearly says in organization. What does it say in organization? Carefully structured content with organized paragraphing. It's there, no? It's given, no? So it should not come as a surprise. Okay. You have the fully solved here. Now we come to analytical paragraph writing. Analytical paragraph writing does not require a title. Why doesn't it require a title? Because like any writing piece, the first thing you ask is, what is the purpose of this writing? So the purpose of this writing is not presentation. It is simple interpretation of data or cues given. If you're simply interpreting, why are you going to title it? Are you presenting it somewhere? There is no title. There are no marks. Can you see marks for format? Can you see marks for format anywhere? So there is no title. In fact, there are 2 marks for organization. Only 2 marks for content. So at best, the child will look at 4 trends. Can't do more than 4 trends. So simple. Look at this organization. Conveying single paragraph. It's analytical paragraph writing. Okay. Let's go back to the paper to explain. Okay. Right. This is a SWOT analysis. So you have established a context over here, Gurmeet Kaur. Now you are saying that the strength of the college, the weakness, the opportunities and the threat, SWOT. Now write a paragraph in about 100, 120 words, analyzing her SWOT notes to support your stand whether she should join or not join. Should she join or should she not join? If you say she should join, then why, based on all of this given? If you say they shouldn't join, so if you're going to say that she should join, Obviously, you are going to look at the strengths and opportunities and focus on those and say how these strengths and opportunities can cut out the weakness and the threat. You will also have to remember that she has minimal technological skills. She comes from a village. She has minimum exposure. Okay, she wants a scholarship. So all of that is also going to impact all of this. So either the child can say join or the child can say not join. And that is why I made the effort to solve this and put it. Do you see a title somewhere? Why is there a confusion? Look at the marking scheme, no? Are we allowed to include opinion in analytical paragraph? No. Why would you include opinion? Especially not when there is data given. If it is an argumentative type of cue, please use your opinion. I'll talk about that. Don't worry. Okay, so you have it here. See, it's given. You will not find this in guidebooks. You will only be able to do it yourselves. You are the masters. You are the resource. You are the admirable, strong leaders who will take the children ahead, not the guidebooks. Okay? Why aren't we analyzing the topic? The paragraph should talk about both aspects and then give up. Yes, that's another approach, which is why if you are saying yes, you will focus on this, but you will also cut down the weakness and threat logically and say that the strength and opportunities far, are ahead in merit. So these. So yes, you would do it. Thank you, Franklin. But we still have another 10 minutes. I'm going to spend the least amount of time for literature. Is that something you know like this? Okay. So, and I need to have some time for. Now look at this. Your question about puts up the argumentative para in a debate pattern. No, a debate pattern is first person. We do not do first person in analytical paragraph writing, please. Okay, read the following excerpt from an online post. Okay, kids who appreciate, and please look at the context of the question. You need to give them something they understand. This is 15-year-old. This is not a 25-year-old person. Okay. How much effort, time, and care goes into growing food, understand, and real world issues. Okay. So now gardening needs to be given more importance than sports, music, and dance. It's not saying that sports, music, and dance should be replaced. It's saying it should be given more importance in the world of today, okay? Because it creates environmental stewards and outdoor learning laboratories that help the child and community. So it is somebody's opinion. So now somebody asked, can we put in opinion? Yes, in these kind of questions, so you could think about what alternative explanations might weaken the given conclusion and include rationale. So this is important. Say anything, but you should be able to justify. Azma's hand is raised. Himani, what do you recommend? Do we?
Ma'am, if you want to go on with the continuity, I think we can take the questions personally later after the session in Q&A.
Okay. Azma, you've been noted. Kindly save the question for later, please. Okay. Now, can we use the first person here? Seema, there is no scope for using first person because you are simply putting in an analysis. You are putting in an analysis. You cannot say, I think this should be the case. That is not how we would write. You would simply say, in the world of today, kids, has this been solved? I think it has been solved, does it? Use first person? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't remember. In the world of today, yeah. I don't see the first person here. No. And somebody who mentioned debate style, please look at the marking scheme, my dear. Can't I write this is so and so, but I personally know? Why would you want to do that? It's remember what your marks are for. Remember this. Look at the expression and organization. It says ideas. There is some place here. Yeah, it's a formal writing. Okay. It's a formal writing. Don't get informal at any point of time. If you want to say, I feel so and so, I don't think that will work. There is no mention of marks getting cut for it, but I wouldn't tilt in favor of that. However, if a child sort of has a tendency to do that, then the child is interpreting, not analyzing. When a report is presented, when something is analyzed, personal, there is no scope for personal opinions, only logic. This should be done because not what I think. Okay, it has to be evidenced rationally. It's analytical paragraph writing. You're not being asked to explain, summarize, or paraphrase something. That's the best I can share. Okay, now let's move further. Yes, we are moving to the questions here. All right. Now I'll make this quick. You look at the competencies that have been listed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 competencies and you have 5 questions per extract. Okay. So this is analysis. This is inference. See, what does Pranjal mean by saying that Assam has the largest concentration of plantations in the world? There's no answer there. You have to infer looking at the clues. Okay. Number 3 is evaluation. Pranjal's dash comes through clearly when he exclaims. So what is it? You know, what comes through? What is that mood that comes through? So evaluate, then you interpret very clearly what is the meaning of this particular, that legends or whatever that has been said. And this is very clearly vocabulary. So you have 5. Yes, George, questions from supplementary will be asked. Of course, they'll be asked. Why won't they be asked? So now this is from the main book, Glimpses of India. It's been mentioned. And this is from the supplementary. Because your syllabus very clearly says what? What does it say here? 1 out of 2 extracts from drama prose. Prose is there, no? In your supplementary reader. The name of the book is not mentioned. Okay. Then you have this. The next one, this is vocabulary because of the word present. Then this is analysis because it's about an analogy. Then you could even say this is vocabulary if you want. Then you have simple interpretation. See, why all crew members were asked to have vitamins. So you interpret from the information that is given there, why they will be asked, why they were asked to do it. Then you have inference. Transcribe. Usually when you say transcribe, it means to write or to interpret, but that is not what it means here. So it is inference, okay? And then you have evaluation. The playwright uses certain words and sentences in brackets. So you evaluate. Okay. So five competencies, 5 questions, 1 of each competency. Do we mention lesson title after the question? This is an extract based question. So mentioning it once over here is required. Yes, you should. It's a question paper. You will also mention it after every question. If it is not clear, I am coming to that. Then you have trees, one of my very favorite poems. Okay. It's very complex. Ideally, it should belong to class 12 or something. But yeah, since we are talking, please do not just teach it in the context of environment. Please teach it in the context of discrimination also, whether it is the gender discrimination or the class discrimination, because there is a mention of it in the questions in your textbook. 2A, so you have inference. There's a clue given here. Anywhere there's a clue given, you are deducing or figuring it out. Then again, inference. Then again, you have interpretation. Obviously, true or false, simply interpret and tell. Then again, the idea of a forest. Empty all these days, simply interpret. What does it mean? Explain. All this explain, compare, contrast, all that is interpretation. It's lower order. Okay. And then you have evaluation. Okay. Same goes for Anne Gregory. Again, all 5 you will get. And remember, when you're creating the question, how many words are permitted in question 1? I don't know what you're asking. We'll talk about it towards the end. If you have, by chance, if you feel that you have 2 inferences here and you've missed out on a vocab or something, then you have to make sure that you have 2 inferences even in the option. The competencies of both your option extracts have to be similar. You cannot have all analysis in one, or just analysis and evaluation in one, and inference, evaluation, and vocabulary in the other. Doesn't work like that. Okay. Extract 1A. Oh. Well, I think the sample paper is enough to give you an idea as to how many words. The context should make some kind of sense, please. That's all that is required. Reading load should not be excessive. This should tell you how much is recommended. Okay. And then you have this despair and so on. So I don't think we need to spend time here. Look at this now. This is clearly vocab. Look at this now. Oh, you're very welcome, Lycos. Okay. Validate the given statement with the reference to baby seagull's fear. Validate. Can someone tell me what competency are we doing here? Validate. What does that mean? Validate. Prove from the text. No, not analysis. Validate. Analysis would mean give a reason. Okay, so this is evaluation. It's high order. Yes, very good. Very good, Usha. Very good, Priya. Thank you very much. Yes, Sindhu. Hita, thank you. Yes, all of you. Yes. Fear doesn't exist anywhere else other than. Now see, the title has been given. I think somebody had asked this to show that something is true. Yes, Dipesh, yes. So therefore, if you have to prove that something is true, you will have to evaluate. Okay. Explain why. So explain, very simple. Explain why. So explain would be a lower order, but it has been raised because you're asking for a reason. So therefore, this becomes analysis. And yes, the title is given. So now we come to Valli. Do you agree? Why not? Okay, so 2 reasons, self-explanatory. Give one reason. Number 4, give one reason. Now the word reason has been used here, but there is a evaluation of both. Only then you evaluation. How can we say that Natalia was continuously successful in maintaining an upper hand during her arguments with Lomov? So now, it's very textual. And over here, you have simply got the lowest order because it says so over here. Okay. Same goes for these. Very simple. You have analysis. Okay. Names of chapters are given. If the chapter is included in the question, then the name is not given separately. Now let's just end it with across the text questions. Okay. Look at the competencies required. Look at that. Creativity, imagination, extrapolation. Now, Mijbil and the tiger. Okay. Over here, you have Sermon at Benares and the ball poem. Creativity. What would you include in your advice? Creativity. Extrapolation. Extrapolation. Critical thinking, evaluation. You're not going to find this in you're the masters. I believe in you. Okay. Yes, Dipesh, your favorite poem? Very good. Wow, you must be a philosopher. Okay. Look at these questions. Interpretation, extrapolation beyond the text, and inference, theme or plot or character. Okay. So now, fiction writers prefer creating gray characters rather than black and white. So, reference to thief story. Now you have those 2 characters. Neither is completely good, neither is completely bad. Both have some negatives, both have some positives. That is what you're supposed to analyze over here. Honor among thieves is considered a popular code. So, theme. So we've done character, we've done theme. Okay. And your marking scheme over here very clearly says what is required for the long questions. Remember, for the 3 markers, content is 2 marks and 1 mark is for expression, and half mark should be cut out if there is accuracy situation. So content is basically just 2 marks. So when you create your questions, please make sure that 2 points or something worth 2 marks is given, not 3 marks. The 3rd mark is for organization, expression. So don't say, oh, it's a 3 marker. So the child is going to write 40, 50 words and will get 2.5 out of 3. Why? The child can just get content marks out of 2 only. Okay. Please share important links. I too need important links for sample papers. We'll talk about that later. Okay. So now, as far as I'm concerned, this is it. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm ready to take the... somebody mentioned grammar. I'm not really sure what you wanted to know about grammar, but I'm open for questions. Stop sharing. Yeah. I know we've gone a little overboard. Dr. Salam, I'm so sorry for having taken those 5-10 minutes extra. Sindhu, you're very welcome. What about characters in the play? Yeah. If you want to, what about them? You can only follow what is given in the syllabus. Create your question in such a manner that there is an extrapolation of the characters with something else in the other poems or texts, etc. Why not? What is the play that you have in class 10?
The proposal. The proposal.
Ah, my goodness. So, if I were to create a question, I would say that imagine what's that fellow's name? Lomo? Imagine Lomo having a conversation with Lencho. One of them has fields, the other one is a landlord. Yeah, it depends what kind of question you want to create. Or, you could talk about the character implications, etc. But I'm not supposed to talk about all of this. We were just decoding. Let me not stress you all out right now. You're very welcome, Deva. Yes. Yes. Any other question, Himani?
Yes,
over to you. Thank you all very much. Yes.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for this boundless discourse, so enlightening. Dear participants, you can virtually raise your hands and we'll take up your queries. We have Ms. Asma. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Salam, sir, for this wonderful session. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ruchi Sangha, ma'am. It was very nice. But still, I have, when I teach argumentative paragraph in the class, still I feel that the marking scheme which is presented here shows that we take one stance for or against.
Yeah.
Gardening or music, art and drama, right? So can't we like take both stances and present them in an equal balanced manner, that this because so and so, art music because so and then in the third paragraph, which we are afterwards merging into one single paragraph, lay more importance to any one thing, might be gardening, might be music, and then conclude?
Yeah,
without bringing in the first person, that most of the people believe this, then the other group of people believe this, but then we conclude. Don't you think that way we analyze better?
How would that be an analysis?
Because we are analyzing both aspects, right?
Yes, but
we are putting up the arguments.
I agree with you, but in an analytical paragraph, the question very clearly says, the cue that has been given very clearly says that gardening should be given more importance.
No, ma'am. I'm sorry if I have got the question wrong. What I understood is any part, you can go with anything and then take an instance. So what I will do, like when you go through British Council material, this is how they do.
No, we are not going to go to British Council material. We are going to stick with CBSE material, please.
But CBSE has
we are done with the British.
Banks prepared by British Council. I had attended 7-day workshop.
No,
with
those items have been prepared by people like you. They have not been prepared by the Britishers.
Yeah, but okay, whatever. I just want clarification from you.
Look at this. Look at this. And I'm really delighted that you've engaged with me and that you're thinking so much. Hats off to you. Okay.
No,
so now,
thank you so much for the guidance, ma'am.
In a world of today, gardening needs to be given more importance than sports, or something like that. Write a paragraph to analyze the given argument, okay, which means an opinion, right? You could think about what alternative explanations might weaken the given conclusion and include rationale, evidence that would strengthen or counter the given argument, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't, it says take one side. It does not say that paraphrase and present a balanced view. No. The question, the nature of the question is such. if these things had not been written, then yes, we would have gone with what you're saying, because that is the balanced way of projecting something, right? What you're talking is basically done in discursive articles, where you take what you don't agree with first, explain why, then you say why what you believe in is better, and then give a conclusion. Yes, Asma? But over
Yeah,
here,
ma'am, but if that is the case, we are only going for, right?
no, you could stick with it. You could say what alternative explanations might weaken the given conclusion also. No. How is it for?
Okay,
It
so
could be
let's take
against
last
also.
year's question. Ruchi ma'am, let's take last year question, which was the ban on single-use plastic is impractical. The purpose of articles like bags and packaging is ultimately to make human life easier. Plastic articles do this well, so they shouldn't be banned.
Yeah.
This was the question in last year's sample paper.
And was what the last two lines given?
Plastic articles do this well,
No.
so they
Were
shouldn't be.
the last two lines given? These highlighted lines, were they given?
Yeah, you could think that what alternative explanations might weaken the given conclusion and include rational or evidences that would strengthen or counter the given argument.
Exactly. So either they strengthen what you want to say, or what, either you are supporting this opinion or you are countering this opinion. But you have to rationalize why you are supporting the opinion or why you are countering the opinion. That is all. If you feel, so now if you want to strengthen it, you would first cut off the countering arguments. So what you're saying is correct, that you would give that part.
Yeah,
but
you got it.
You will have
That's
to
what I was
give that
saying.
part.
Yeah,
That is exactly what is done even in the SWOT analysis. You have to first rationalize by cutting that off. No, only then you can put points in favor, right?
Yeah.
But your final thing is going to be in favor then. You cannot say that this is
whatever.
also good and this is also good.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay,
So
Azma.
I will make my children, right? Suppose we are countering it. Will say many people argue that.
Yes.
Or it is, or put it like in a very neutral tone, so make it more formal. It is argued.
Yes.
And then
However,
yes,
very
and
good.
then,
Yes.
However, in the last to conclude, or in nutshell.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, that's what was my point, that we counter and then we strengthen and then we conclude.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ruchi
You're
ma'am.
very welcome.
No, we should be very clear when we go to the class, right?
Yes, it is for our children. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was my question, and thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for beautifully explaining that. Do we have any more questions from the participants? Request you to please raise your hands. You may click on the raise hand button, and then we can go ahead with your queries, or you can put them in chat box.
Now, there were a few queries about quality papers or quality resource, etc. You could visit the website that I have only for materials. I do it only for 9 to 12 teachers, but that's not a free website. Materials are priced, so please use your discretion. Yeah, there are a lot of people who take material from there. It is not meant for students, it is only for teachers, so you can use it in the classroom, and everything is 100% original. The competencies are listed and so on and so forth. So please do visit the website www.ruchisengar.in. Okay. Yes, Himani, please carry on.
And we have another educator would like to ask. V. Rajakumari, could you please unmute yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. I am Rajakumari.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. I have to clear my doubt. How will they ask a question about this character sketch of Natalia or Nomo? As you said, they'll ask only about footprints, that is from supplementary only. So in what way can we expect that characters from this play alone at least?
What does the syllabus say for that particular question? It says, creativity, imagination, extrapolation, text beyond the text. It could be a passage-based question taken from a situation or plot. Yeah. So supposing I were to take a question, I would take a particular passage from that particular play or a portion from that particular play, and then I would ask a question in the context of why did Natalia do this, or what does it tell you about Natalia, etc. So there won't be a character sketch per se according to the syllabus. I don't know what's going to come in the boards. Don't shoot me later. I have only shown you what the syllabus says. That's all. So the question about that character's action or justification of that action or what that character believes can come via a particular reference to that context or a passage or a particular event or a situation that had taken place. But to write 120 words, 10 portrait about Natalia, those kind of questions, there is no scope in the syllabus for that kind of question. Have I answered your question? Was I able to answer your question, my dear? Oh, she's
I'm sure,
muted.
ma'am. Yeah, I'm sure you
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was beautifully explained.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And we have some more questions popping up. We have Sulakshana Banerjee. Could you please unmute yourself?
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you so much for this.
Sulakshana.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much for this insightful session. Really, a lot of things got clarified. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
can. Yeah.
Ma'am, there's just one more confusion regarding the analytical paragraph. Suppose a set of data is given. Then we're not supposed to include the students are not supposed to include their opinions on it. But in case there's like something like SWOT analysis or something which is argumentative in nature, then they're free to use their opinion. Have I got that right, ma'am? I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, love, you got
Clarify
it
that.
right. Let me just set one thing very clear. Anything to do with data, it's just interpretation. Even SWOT is just data. So there is no scope for opinion there either. In an argumentative queue, there is scope for opinion, as Azma pointed out. Opinion is equal to rationale. It cannot just be I feel. There has to be some rationale to it. It's an analytical paragraph, right? And it will remain one paragraph only. Is that clear, Sulakshana?
Yes, ma'am. Just one more question. Like for SWOT analysis, we are supposed to help the person take some decision, or suggest whether the person should go for that college or not.
Yes.
So in that case, we are actually giving our opinion. So I'm probably I'm finding that contradictory. So could you help me understand that better?
Yes. You are giving your opinion in the sense of just analyzing. So you're saying, the question says, help her take the decision, or what according to you should she do? That's the question. So the question very clearly says, what do you think? Now analyze via her notes. So the notes are hers. She's created that analysis. Now, based on that analysis, what do you think tilts in her favor?
Okay, ma'am.
So yes. So you're analyzing it for her, thereby giving, overarching the opinion, which is the answer, but it has to be in the form of an analysis.
Okay, ma'am. I have got it. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much for clarifying.
Welcome.
Ma'am, we have another educator, Ms. Neetu. Could you please unmute yourself?
Good evening, ma'am. Can you please hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Ma'am, my query is, while writing letters, generally students write, I am, sir, I am so-and-so from Mayur Vihar, Delhi. Is this the right starting, ma'am, of the letter? I generally tell children that already your name and all is written like yours truly and the signature and the name. So is it right if they again introduce themselves and like, because we are running short of words here. So
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong about it, but can there be a better way, a more appropriate way? Yes. And it certainly doesn't involve beginning with introducing yourself, because you are signing off after all, right?
correct. Yes, ma'am. So directly coming to the topic will be, I mean, whatever.
Yeah. It's an exam, right? It's an academic task,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you are limited by certain words, oblique time in an
Yes, ma'am.
exam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And one more thing, like looking at the sample paper, will there be no more bar graphs, line graphs?
Of course there will
And
be. Of course there will be. But then all the millions of refresher books have bar graphs, line graphs. Those books don't have things like this. So it's better to share something like this with teachers and children so that they get a hang of this as well. Of course, it says charts, graphs, maps. Maps. Now those maps could be concept maps, they could be site maps, they could be
Ruchi ma'am, your video
process charts, you could have anything. You
got
could
to go
even
with
have
all.
a poster or a picture or anything.
So we ought to go with all kinds of practices, hai na?
Yes, the purpose is analysis. Teach your children how critical thinking, no? You have this, you have this. What's the outcome? That's all you have to teach them.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Do visit the website. There are more samples there. I'm sure you will.
You know. Thank you, ma'am.
Usually,
Dr. Salam's going to kill me. We are, I don't know, we are touching 9 o'clock.
10 minutes more. 10 minutes left.
Okay.
I'll quickly take up the next questions. I just wanted to add, like for the letter, we usually insist students to start with, this is in reference to so-and-so. That's how, you know, proceed.
Thank you, Himani. Thank you. Perfect.
We have another educator, Pavitra. Could you please unmute?
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Hello, Pavitra.
Thank you for the wonderful session. So, ma'am, I would like to some of it is right. So, how is that?
Himani,
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Pavitra, your question was not clear because of the internet glitch at your end. If you could just post your question in the chat box, we'll take it up. We'll quickly come to next educator, Bindu. Could you please unmute yourself? Bindu, could you please unmute yourself? There could be a lag. No, I think that's
all. Let's. She hasn't typed the question in the chat box also.
Yes. Ms. Pavitra, if you have any query, you can type in the chat box. Because of the lag at your end, we couldn't hear you clearly. I think, sir, so far so good.
Yeah, let's wind up.
So should I proceed with vote of thanks?
Please, please.
I would like
to sitting for 2 hours now.
Yes. I would like to extend our gratefulness and appreciation to Madam Ruchi Sengar for broadening our horizons and by enlightening us with boundless discourse. Dear participants, kindly note the link for certificates and feedback form has been already posted. You are requested to fill up the form with all the necessary details. I, Himani Bakshi, along with the CBSE Bharat Sahodaya, would like to thank Madam Sengar once again for her gracious presence and an enriching experience. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Abdul Salam for his magnanimous support and guidance. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Also, a big thank you to the technical team, Arun Mohan sir, Arafat sir, for a flawless execution of today's session. And most importantly, thank you to all the participants for their enthusiasm. I hope we earned the privilege of your time. Over to you, Salam sir.
Thank you, Ruji ma'am. As expected, you did it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And so many, I think we must thank and appreciate the teachers who have joined us today. Being Sunday, they have dedicated their time. So they are so committed and dedicated. But I take this opportunity on behalf of Ruchi ma'am and Himani, Bharat Sahodaya, thanks immensely for the participation that you have, done today. Definitely, it's going to benefit the students as well as your, teaching too. So thank you so much, Ruji ma'am. So many were asking when are we going to get another session for grade 11, 12. We shall plan soon, right, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah, we shall plan soon. So thank you so much for your enlightening and very informative session. I
Very
think
good.
no doubt is remaining with the educators and participants. This video will be available on our YouTube channel. You can take it as a reference. We have had very serious learning. Definitely, you need some reference to go back and see wherever cross mark was done and wherever ticking was done by Ruji ma'am. Yeah. So thank you so much, Himani ma'am. Thank you so much. You have become an expert in moderating.
Thank you, sir. Really means a lot. Learning from
One
the
of
best
the-
of you people
One of the best moderators I have come across, Himani.
means a lot, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Learning from you all. Thank you so much.
Very well, welcome, and Mr. Arun Mohan too. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you, ma'am. Let's wind up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good night. Thank you, ma'am.
Good
Good
night.
night. Take care.
Stay
Bye-bye.
empowered, everybody. Bye-bye.